Welcome to the Loveland Report, the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. We're going to talk about what's going on in Central Florida real estate, Central Florida mortgages. We are going into the selling season. We're going to talk about
Yay, the selling season.
Spring and summer, usually a little bit more volume in Central Florida. I've got news on the price per square foot is up, and we're going to talk about that. The median price per square foot.
Be up.
It is, but not just the median price. So what's this mean is the smaller homes are those ones out there selling. We'll talk about that. And then talking about mom and dad, they're 78 and they're going to go retire to the beach condo or the golf villa. And what do you do with the old house? Do you rent it out? Do you sell it? We're going to dive into that, talk about some real estate planning there. What do you got today, Bruce?
Well, I want to go over what rates are doing. There was a little bit of good news that we're going to share later on in the show. Yep. A little bit of good news. And I want to talk a little bit about Grant Cardone was on Fox News earlier this week, and he made some comments. I want to talk a little bit about that as well. And then we have a class that we're doing on June 26th, which will be our leapfrog class. This is how you can learn how to invest in real estate, become a real estate investor. If you're interested in building wealth in real estate and creating generational wealth, that would be a great class. That's on June 26th. We'll give you the details on that as well. And then Hometown Heroes comes out next month. We're only a little less than a month away, and we are taking lots of applications, but I want to talk about some changes that have been made that could affect the way people qualify for that. So there are a lot of things going on that I think are important. And then I want to talk really about who's buying in this market and why they're buying. So we got a lot to cover.
Yeah. And what we're going to see, we'll see some numbers in a couple of weeks on how May sales were. I'm hoping we start exceeding last year. People start realizing we've got more listings on the market than we do last year because people are seeing that prices are rising faster than rates are coming down. And so they're like, well, I better buy now. I'll refinance after I get into the home a year from now. When the rates do come down, hopefully we have a good election this fall and we get a good economy and the bond market straightens out and we see some rates in the low sixes or high fives.
You know, if we could just get into the mid to low sixes again, I think that you'd see everybody jumping back into
the old, people, the first 18 months ago, people were like, what? I'm not paying that rate, when they started to climb. And the market kind of took a breath and people are like, all right, I'll do it. We got buy downs to use to get the rate, for the 1-1 buy down or a 2-1
0-1, 2-1 buy down, 3-2-1 buy down.
Seller contributes. You can start out your mortgage with a 5% fixed rate instead of a 7% rate. So all those things are out there, but now people are seeing prices are still up despite how bad Joe sucks in the White House and what they're doing to our economy.
Yeah, but you have to realize there's a lot of reasons that prices are up. First of all, you're going to talk a little bit later about square footage prices are up. So you cannot have reduced prices and say inflation in the same sentence. You can't do it. Inflation means things cost more money. Yep. So if things cost more money, why would we think that housing would go down in price?
Yeah.
If your lumber costs more, your refrigerators are, I price refrigerators out there. I used to be able to buy a refrigerator for $850.
Yep.
You can't buy a wine cooler for $850 anymore.
So, but that's, I'd say there's one reason for all that. And he's Sleepy Joe. He started all this crap.
He has made this country an absolute mess.
But on that right now, what's happening is the rest of the country, people are moving here because we are more affordable than the Northeast or the West Coast. We are more affordable to Floridians than the East or West Coast of Florida. Yeah. Those real estate values are out of control. I was in downtown Tampa last weekend. Went over to a concert and I was just checking. I like to look at realtor.com and see what the prices are of real estate around me. I'm like, oh, okay, this is the ritzy section. And
Tampa's way up.
And their median price is higher than ours. They're a bigger metro area, shipping, ports, and that, plus the beaches. Their real estate is probably, 20, 30%, 40% more expensive than ours in some spots. So we are more affordable to Floridians, which we get more Floridians moving here than we do people from out of the state.
Well, this is true. And, if you're willing to move kind of out of the, the main areas of Central Florida and you're willing to go to like DeLand or Deltona or Daytona, then there are more affordable prices. And since people can work remotely more often, then, and I don't know if that's kind of coming back. I think there's a pullback on some of this work remote business, but if you can work remote, then you can live anywhere you want. And it's always better to buy than it is to rent. And I want to go over some numbers on that as well, so people have a clear understanding. By the way, if you'd like to reach Cleve Loveland, he and his team are available today and on call. He can be reached right now at 407-352-8118. If you'd like to talk to the loan arranger, you can call or text 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144, or get your application started at webringyouhome.com. I'll get on the phone with you. One of my loan officers will get on the phone with you, and we will get you set up. But I actually return calls. You call me, even though my team might start your process, you're going to hear from me, and I'm going to structure your transaction.
Oh, yeah.
That's a guarantee.
It's amazing. My closing coordinator is always talking about trying to get a hold of other realtors and other lenders, and she's like, nobody returns calls. I go, well, here's the message you leave. After two unanswered emails and 2 unanswered phone calls, you say, my next call is to your branch manager. My next call is to your broker. And then after that, she turns me loose on them.
Speaking of that,
just communicate.
Cleve, I know you just got a new person on your team. I'm looking to fill a couple of positions. I've got loan officer assistants. You must have experience, at least 2 years experience to be my assistant, and licensed loan officer. And I have loan officer positions available in the field because, we've taken on some big builder accounts. They're busy. We need people to help sit in these subdivisions and take applications and service our clients. So if you're a licensed loan officer and you're looking to build your business, we have everything there is to offer at Cross Country Mortgage, all the benefits, great interest rates, and everything is done in-house. You're not having to broker and find a place to put all your loans. Everything's done in-house.
Question for you, Bruce. Yeah. I got an article here that I thought was kind of funny, talking about how ARM adjustable rate mortgages are skyrocketing, and people, a lot of homeowners are going to get stung by them. Are you doing any adjustable rate mortgages?
I have not closed any adjustable rate mortgages unless you get into the super jumbo. Then they're not worth it. Now, banks like to sell them because it's like a car lease. You're guaranteed to come back, right? And we look at ARMs and balloons as being it's a lender trick to get you to do something that guarantees you're coming back to do it again. So I don't like interest rates right now any more than anybody else.
We need to do a buy down. Have the seller give you money for a 1 year buy down.
Don't,
or a 2 year buy down.
Here, you know what? People are going right back to the mentality that they had before the market crashed. And I tell them, don't do adjustable rate mortgages. Oh, why? It's fixed for 5 years and I'm going to refinance it anyway. And then they get stuck with it and it becomes a problem. And that's the same conversations I had back in 2004 and 5 when everybody wanted to do them. And I said, don't do it. Don't do it. And then they got into trouble. Stick with the basics and you won't get yourself into trouble.
Breaker. No,
there's a caller calling in. We're going to have
to
take you. Caller, if you're listening to us right now, we'll call you back on a break.
But, all right. But we're in rates right now. We are about 7.
So you're just north of 7%. I mean, you can get it down into the 6s. But I'm even looking at a investor at 7 3/4 right now, which is not a bad investor transaction. So if we want to get into rates, let's talk about rates. So last week we got hammered. It was a 4-day work week. We started off on Tuesday. The market dumped. We dumped again Wednesday. Thursday was flat. Friday, we recouped a little bit. This is last week. And then this week, the stock market hasn't been doing well, but the bond market really did nicely recover. And these are not giant gains, but they're small gains. And all it takes is consistency on small gains. So I had some mortgage consultations earlier in the week, and I said, I feel like things might get just a little bit better this week. If you have the tolerance and the stomach for floating, let's float and see what happens this week. So I'm watching it on a day-to-day basis, and we've been improving just slightly. And sometimes an improvement, Cleve, means we just didn't get worse.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Which is not so bad. So interest rates have settled a little bit, and we got a lot of applications in. You know, there's still a lot of fear in the market, but we got a lot of applications in. I was watching Grant Cardone on Fox News, and, you know, he was right about some things and wrong about other things. And I love Grant Cardone, but I like him mostly for his motivation. I like him for his tenacity, for his sales skills.
Well, I love somebody worth hundreds of millions of dollars giving advice. Sometimes it's going to be right. I mean, obviously they've got.
Well, you know, he's considered a real estate guru.
But didn't he say not to buy right now?
Well, he didn't say don't buy right now. What he's talking about is, he said affordability is at a low.
Yeah.
It's difficult for the first-time home buyer to buy. And it is. You and I deal with that every day, and we don't lie about it or make it seem better on the air with our clients. It is what it is. But, and he says, if you're going to buy, you should buy a fourplex and live in one. Well, that
works
great.
in a big city that has all those. We don't have fourplexes. We don't have fourplexes. And it's very rare.
And you find me a fourplex for under $595, and I'll go buy it myself.
I have a duplex for $499.
Well, I can build a duplex right now, brand new, 3-2 on both sides for under $300,000.
Where?
That's not including the lot. That's not including the lot, the fill dirt. But I'm already working with one of my builders. I'm going to be bringing this new builder on. I really like these guys. And I'm just, before I go getting into bed with anybody, you know, I do my homework. So believe me, this company, Cleve, you're going to love this. This company builds homes, and 95% of their market are investors that flip them before they're even finished.
Oh, wow.
And they're making on average
I just
50
came
grand.
across, I was doing a rental analysis for a gentleman, and down the street, I was looking at all these new homes that were up for rent. There was like 10 of them on one street.
Right.
Obviously institutionally owned, Wall Street owned probably, or one smart investor, but all the exact same house, the exact same floor plan on the same street, not even in like an unincorporated area of Altamont, but beautiful 2,000 square foot homes. And it's funny, the rents they were asking were a little high. I don't know if they're actually going to get them rented, but, you know, great plan.
What were they renting for, out of curiosity?
$3,400 for 2,000 square feet, brand new. That's steep for this area. But anyway, you got to find the land, which is hard. And I don't know how they found this.
I'm paying $3,400. I'm just going to buy.
This was a couple acres of land, and somehow they got it approved, to build 10 homes on it, or however many they built. So it's just very hard to find that. But as far as duplexes, we do have duplexes. We got
duplexes, and duplexes are great buy.
It is a better, and it is smart, fiscally responsible. It's very smart to live in one side and rent the other.
Absolutely. At least for a year or two.
But what people say is, wait a minute. If I got to pay $500 for a duplex, I can have an awesome house for $490 and just be there. And that's the mentality.
Better,
that's the mentality. That's why we don't see a lot of those. One of my retired customers built most of the duplexes in Orlando.
But if you're trying to gain wealth, a duplex is a great buy.
It's great. That other person is going to cover probably 60, 70% of your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And then later on, save, leapfrog. We're going to talk about that, but leapfrog out of that house, then rent both sides.
That's right.
And then move on to your next primary.
Yep. June 26th, 6:30. I think we're going to do it at Tibby's.
We'll probably be at Tibby's, but just get registered. Go to WeBringYouHome.com. And that's the same guy again.
No, that's a different guy.
He must be calling about 5% interest rates. So, because you've got, don't you have special rates out at Trinity Homes?
Yes, we have special rates. They're doing buy down rates at Trinity. We've got communities in Groveland, Leesburg. We're opening up another one in Groveland.
St. Cloud.
We've got St. Cloud is going strong. Big house. They got 6-bedroom, 4-bath houses out there for sale for in the 600s if you want to go that big.
But the builders made an arrangement with Cross Country to have a lower rate.
Yep, we do. We're
not a temporary buy down.
Well, we're doing temporary and we're doing permanent buy downs depending on the client and whether it's spec home or not.
Okay.
So specs, we're doing the permanent buy downs, and if you're to be determined,
we got to go. Give them your numbers, Bruce.
Yep. Let's do 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com. Cleve.
407-352-8118. Go to cleveloveland.com. You need help buying, selling, or managing your rental properties.
Yep. And when we come back, we're going to dive into how to motivate sellers and first-time home buyer programs. So we'll be back in 5.